Friday. Happy Friday. I hope y'all have had an amazing week. It's your girl Felicia. If you are new here, join the family. Welcome. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe on your way out. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love you guys so much. And listen, we are rounding out our week. Today is the last day of the work week. Well, for some people. And I know for me, for a long time, Friday was not the end of my week. I was working 7 days a week. I was working every holiday. I was working during the day. I was working in the evening. I was just working like a fool. So anyway, happy Friday to those of you who this is the round out of your week. And I just want to close this week out by saying you're more in control than you think. You know, a lot of times when we are trying to grow and glow and move and elevate, you know, we tend to think that there's something that we've got to crawl up out of in order to make our reality be what we want it to be. Not realizing that we are more in control than we think we are. We can actually change the circumstances. We can change the vibe. We can change the whole reality of everything around us, but just by changing our mindset. And I talk about this a lot, but I want to make sure I reiterate that one of my favorite quotes, and this is something that you can look up for yourself and you can adopt this because it'll definitely help you, but a man made to change his mind against his will is of the same opinion still. So if your thought process is still where you were, then that means that everything that you do and touch is going to have a bit of that feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have, let's just give this example. Say you have lived in survival mode for a long time and you have not necessarily changed your mind. You have not switched from survival mode to thriving mode, then everything you do and touch is still going to have a bit of that fight or flight or fright energy to it. You know what I'm saying? So you really have to switch your mindset from that flight or fright, that survival mode. You've got to switch your mindset to thriving mode because, again, you're more in control than you think you are. When you begin to think like a person who's thriving, when you begin to act like a person who's thriving, talk like a person who's thriving, walk like a person who's thriving, and nobody's telling you to fake it before you make it, but you definitely have to change your mindset, even if it's something that you're working on, a goal that you're getting towards. You know what I mean? You've got to take on that energy now. And when you take on that energy right now, the things in your reality begin to look like the things that you want. They begin to feel like the things that you want. You're more in control than you think you are. You're walking around in the driver's seat and don't even know it. You know, we are allowing other things to control our mood. You know what I'm saying? We're letting the people in the workplace control our mood. We're letting folks down to the church control our mood. Anytime you let somebody get into your psyche and get into your energy and change your vibe, you let somebody get into your head and change your vibe, you let somebody kind of shake you up or, put you on edge, that is what your reality begins to mimic. So not allowing any of that to become your reality is what keeps you in the driver's seat. Really what happens is you start to become unshakable. You start to become limitless. You start to become someone who not only are you not allowing those things to become your vibe, to become your aura, you're no longer relinquishing control to those outside entities. You are taking your power back. You're taking your control back. And what actually happens in a situation like that is that now you're in the driver's seat and you start to entrain your mind, and your surroundings and your reality begins to become the thoughts that you think, the actions that you take. And before you know it, people are now marching to your drum instead of you becoming a circumstance of everybody else's thoughts and everybody else's feelings, especially those of you who are empaths, because you have to be very careful. If you're an empath, empaths take on the vibe, and they take on the feeling, and they take on the energy of everything and everybody around them. They absorb it and they become it if you're not careful. So once you realize that is the kind of personality you have, then you can control it more. You can control it and the things around you more. And this is not for you to use in a negative way, because actually, I don't know if you've read the book before, The 48 Laws of Power. If you haven't, it's a really good book. You want to pick that book up. The 48 Laws of Power basically talks about this, but in a more meticulous way. It talks about this in a more methodical, strategic way. But the bottom line is your thoughts, your actions, your vibe, you can actually entrain everything around you. Let's use this example, or let's look at this. You ever see a school of fish? There's one fish, and the rest of the school of fish, they are swimming in that same direction, like they are swimming in synchronicity, right? Same thing with birds. When they are flying in a certain direction, you see that one bird, and then all of the other ones are flying along with it, around it, and they're all in the same, they're moving in the same motion, really. You know what I'm saying? They all have the same vibe. They all have the same flight pattern. So what has happened is the stronger, dominant thought pattern has begun to entrain all of the other birds and all of the other fish around it, and now they're all either swimming or flying in the same direction. You have that same ability. You have that same ability. You have that same capability. You have that same power. You actually have more control than you think you do, but we don't always use it properly. We're so focused on looking at what the circumstances are, what they look like out here, and we begin to internalize what that thing feels like, as opposed to realizing that even though we are in it, we're not of it. We hear it all the time in church and biblically. Being in the world, but not of the world. That's exactly what that means. You can be in a situation or in an environment, but not necessarily of it, because you have something that everybody else doesn't have. You have the ability to not only control your own motion, but the motion around you as well. And that's not one of those shallow type of thoughts where you're just this bossy person that's bossing everybody around. You just bully everybody, and, people begin to do what it is that you want them to do. That's not that. It is one of those things where people can see your light. We've talked about that before. People can see your light. They can see your energy. They can feel your aura before you even open your mouth. When you walk into the room, people can tell what type of aura and what type of vibe you're on. You know how the young folks say they can tell what type of time you're on. People, when you walk in the room, they can instantly tell what type of time you're on. So you have to realize that for yourself, because, and some of you have experienced this. Some people have told you this, but people can see something in you that a lot of times we don't see in ourselves. You know, they see your power oftentimes before you do. They see the abilities that you have before you do. Why do you think so many people call upon you to do so many different things? They call upon you to do so many different things and to be a part of so many different things because the moment you walked in the room, they knew that you had the ability to provide a vibe, provide an aura, provide a reality that everybody else could get on board with. Another example. Are you one of those people that every time you meet somebody in multi-level marketing, they want to get you on their team? They want to get you on their team. They want to get you involved in whatever, business idea that they've got going on. The reason they want to get you involved is because they know what kind of power you come with. They want to get you involved because they know what kind of vibe you come with. They know what kind of influence you have that you're not even using. They see the influence that you have and you don't even see it. You know what I'm saying? Hi to everybody who is just joining. It's your girl Felicia. Thank you for stopping by. I am so excited. I am so excited that you guys are joining me. Make sure you hit those comments up, share out the video, and for more motivation, information, and empowerment, hit subscribe on your way out, because this power that you're not recognizing, we're about to turn some things around. We're about to take that power back, and in some cases, it's not even taking the power back. It's first realizing that you have the power. Because again, there are people who see something in you that you don't even see. You don't even see in yourself what other people see, which is why, like I said, people are always recruiting you. They're always recruiting you to be a part of something, even romantically. There are times where you can walk in the room and you're being preyed upon because automatically somebody says, that's the kind of vibe I want in my life. That's the kind of person I want on my side. That's the kind of person that I want riding with me in this game of life. So realizing that you have more power than you do is going to be critical, especially when we are talking about reimagining life at any age and at any stage. We're talking about retraining our brains. We're talking about creating the life that we want to have and the life that we want to live. And in order to do that, we have to recognize the power that we have and the power that we possess. And a lot of times we do not. We overlook that because we're so focused on everything out here. We're focused on the people that, are asking us to do whatever. And here's the thing, it's very flattering. It's very flattering that people want you to be a part of what they have going on. But what's dangerous about that is that if you are not really, truly, fully living in your true potential and fully living purposefully and walking in your purpose, what can happen is you can get involved in all of these other things and you can be a part of all of these other things and you can help other people push their agenda. But what will happen is you will become very resentful after a while, because now yet again, you're in a situation where something else is taking up all of your time and your energy and your focus, and you're not fulfilling what it is that you were meant to do. And that causes, inner turmoil and inner misery, and you don't want that. So in order to avoid that trap, In order to avoid that trap, you have to begin with the end in mind. Look up Stephen Covey. Begin with the end in mind, and begin by knowing what your power is, where your strengths lie, what kind of energy you have, what kind of power you have, and using that for your good. Use that for your true purpose that you were put here to do. All right? So I love you guys. I love you so much. Happy Friday. Happy round out of your week. For those of you who this is, truly your Friday, because I get it. If you're somebody who works on the weekends or what have you, I understand, because I did that for years. Make sure you hit subscribe on your way out. Share this video out to someone that it can truly help. You know what I mean? We're trying to reach thousands and thousands of people to help them level up. All right? We're not satisfied with just leveling up ourselves, focusing on our lives and making sure that we are the only ones who make it. We've got enough people out there like that. We've got enough people out there who says, okay, I've made it. You get it how you live. You figure it out. No, we are helping other people level up as well. So share this video out to some people that it probably will help. Some people who are walking into the room and don't recognize their power. All of us have a friend, a family member, or an associate or somebody that we know has that je ne sais quoi. They've got that star quality. They've got that energy that really they can make millions off of, but they're living a pauper's life, not because they want to live like a pauper, but they're living a pauper's life because that purpose just has not been identified. That power has not been taken back yet. And so share this video out and you don't have to share it out to them directly. You could put it on your page and they'll see it. You know what I mean? But give them this message. Send them this message. And don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Because again, we are helping thousands of people level up their lives. That is what our goal is. That is our goal. We can't keep it to ourselves. And again, we're walking in true purpose, and true purpose is to serve in the way that you were designated to serve. So with that being said, gotta go. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. All right.